I was like, there's a 5:30 meeting, right? And no one was there, but I figured maybe everyone was asleep, but it was weird to not see you.
That was the tip off.
So there were no
No,
meetings going on?
No.
There's a 6 o'clock license commission.
Seated to go through the
So I
door
was like,
and
we
say,
got
where you go.
pushed off, so.
I don't know what's going on in the mayor's reception room.
No, and I said, like, every Thursday, like. commission.
Yeah, what?
I hang out now tomorrow morning.
Because if I sit here,
No, they're not using
I
that.
know.
It's the thing on that.
and I'm saying if I, what,
Oh, you're sitting over there. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
What a donut, just give me a buzz. You
That
have your
would
phone
be
with
way
you,
too
right?
much common sense, Mary.
Oh, you're sitting over there.
Yeah.
Way too much.
So I'm taking my waiting. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
It's kind of, yeah, it's not as intense as it was.
Yeah, you can ask it.
Yeah.
Just. Okay. Are we running right now, Jeff?
Yep, we're live on YouTube. But nobody's watching yet.
Yeah.
Sure.
I know, see, this says must watch on Thursday night TV. That's funny, back in the day, that was a big story.
Thursday night.
That's pretty funny, you put that right.
I used to. be
Well, we were only here for a little while, but when we were over at the
Rogers.
Rogers, they had a room specifically for it.
This room is wired, but no one knows how to use the equipment. That's why I'm doing this.
It used to be the guys over at Loma.
I know.
So we'll call to order this meeting of the Personnel Subcommittee, if the clerk could call the roll.
Chairperson Martin?
Here.
Mr. Rossi?
Here.
Mr. Lay?
Here.
Three present.
So we have a number of job descriptions that the administration would like to review with them.
Yes, if I may, so there's a letter which provides 5 groups of proposed job descriptions with a bunch of attachments with justifications for each one that's been provided in the packet. If we want to just go in order, Madam Chair, is that fine? So the first one is decoupling of early childhood coordinator and Cardinal O'Connell School Supervision. The Chief of Phillips provided a memorandum. She was also here to address any questions about that proposal to decouple its positions. I did provide samples of other coordinators that we have. There are a number that are somewhat analogous to what's anticipated, which are in the packet.
So could we just walk through this paragraph on how the budget will be broken down? The bottom one, the first one, I'm just, how we're gonna pay for it.
Sure. So, thank you, Ms. Martin. We did include in the 23-24 budget funding for, it was called the expansion of pre-K services. It wasn't tied to a position per se, but that was our thinking, because as we expand services, the responsibilities need to be split out so that we can provide support across the district as well as to our community partners, so that we can all kind of get on the same page with what kindergarten readiness is, but then we also need someone running the building. And so that is not really possible to do both things, thinking about the quality of programming and working across community partners that don't fall under us, you know, to kind of develop together what is that definition of readiness, what do different organizations need. That's like a key piece that the Ms. Van Thiel would be taking on as we continue our universal pre-K. But that's not possible when you have to be on site, you know, the site administrator taking care of the students, the staff, the families, safety in the building.
So in terms of the budget,
Mhm.
so what was added into the FY 23-24 budget was this new, well, the return to the coordinator budget. So that was being paid from local funds?
Ms. Turner, do you know the funding?
Yes, 100,000.
So that's coming out of local funds?
Yes.
Okay. And then the site position is being paid for?
Both of them would be in the, both of them are in the budget.
And it's not against a grant, it's not against a special ed line item, it's just local funds.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
I don't know if anyone has any other questions or.
I just had a question in regards to, right now, is it paid separately or the same? I guess, as knowing that Ms. Van Thiel was early child coordinator and the principal at the Cardinal O'Connell. So is that paid, you know, as an early childhood coordinator and as a principal?
She's paid as a coordinator now, but when there's an issue there in regards to children or staff, she effectively serves as principal, but there are other building leaders who are coordinators who do the hiring, discipline advice and the like. So this program's grown so big of the school that I think from my perspective, it's to the point now where it's recommended they be separated. And the unions and schools. They don't want to be able to see them.
Yes, that's what so you're doing like two jobs for one role.
That's what the union's argument is, and I can't comment on whether or not that's something that we accept or not, or we now recommend.
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So right now, as currently, we have one person doing two jobs, and we're looking to add another person to do another job, because split into two different positions. Do we have someone in mind yet, or is that?
No one necessarily in the pipeline. It has to be posted, and there'd be a screening of the qualifications, and then there'd be a screening committee that would select the building lead, principal type coordinator. But again, this backdrop, this program was much smaller way back when, where I would say that one person could handle the duties, but now with the increased goals and the size, it's very prudent. Two people. Yeah.
So Ms. Van Thiel will assume the position and what? Coordinator.
I would
You
like to-
continue as.
I would like to go back to being just the early childhood coordinator, like, which manages a variety of grants for the district. The coordinated family and community engagement, the CPI grant, the ESSER funds, right now that we're rolling out with that additional seats. It's difficult sometimes to balance the external and internal simultaneously and do both to the level that I'd like to achieve.
So are there any administrative funds included in these grants?
There are, and right now they support the placement of early childhood students for special education through the early childhood special education grant.
That's not the administration.
That is an administrative role. So we have a staff person who does all of the placement for special ed, needs, all of the paid fees, make sure that we have seats and that we're maintaining ratios. And that's half of what the assistant coordinator does right now. The other half of her salary is paid on the CPI. And then we have a team lead because of the size of our CFCE grant. We currently serve 65 PCHP families, and there's national has requirements of, you know, how many hours there are people. And then we offer 7 play groups throughout the community for that as part of that funding. So they need their own sort of coordinator, and I supervise those folks on all of the grants, and I write all of the grants and manage all of the budgets in addition to what I've been doing as principal.
I'm not questioning the position.
No,
I know what you're saying.
I know that you know
Right, a
coordinated
little bit
family
more than that.
and you know a lot about this.
Yeah, well, not about the actual talent, believe me, but my question is, why aren't we using grant funds to pay for this position of the coordinator? I mean, that's what the generally is included within the EDC funding, and the other grants would be the money to pay for the.
Well, the Commonwealth Preschool Partnership Initiative will not allow you to pay for a full-time coordinator. They are looking for sustainable funding. And they are looking for,
And not providing any.
right, and they are asking people to grade various funding sources to look at long-term funding. So how are we gonna come up with a long-term plan? So for example, with the CPPI grant right now, one of the goals is to increase access in the community to children with disabilities, for example. Well, our goal, I've been hiring people this summer, a speech and language person, special education teacher, to go into programs across the community that are partners with us, so that if a child is served there and their family chooses that, they still have those supports. However, with that, that's probably something similar to the kindergarten grant, where once you get to a certain level of capacity, there's enough money through Chapter 70 based on student reimbursement to pay for a position. Whereas right now there's not enough because we don't have the enrollment backing up. But just like the student, this school student-based funding, if you have enough students, then you're able to fund another position on a sustainable manner. Does that make?
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
I-
otherwise you're chasing dollars and.
Yes, but you're also, but
Yeah,
then you're
you're not
using
sustaining
chapter
programs.
70 funding in a way it wasn't meant to be used, ultimately, but I understand this.
That-
I mean, I just think that when you're applying for grants that don't include the necessary administration to do them and do them well, I mean, that's a problem, not anyone's here problem, but from the state, perspective. Are there any other questions or concerns? So we'll go position by position.
Yes.
So I'd entertain a motion to approve, splitting the position into the coordinator position on site and the, early ed coordinator. Run the program. Motion by Mr. Rossi, second by Mr. Lane. All those in favor say aye. Aye. One down.
So the next one are 3 stipends that the
Thank you.
Thank you.
that the high school is requesting and believes will bring value to the high school. Their lead security guard, lead flex block teacher, lead line CM teacher, as head of school Beato explains in the attached memorandum. The lead line CM teacher previously existed at one point. It got cut in the funding crunch time period. They do have a now flex block program at the high school. The teachers are volunteering to assist Mr. Beato Bolias with this limited stipend. They can provide more direction to those students by assigning a teacher primarily to that role for those students in the flex program. And the lead security guard would provide some leadership to the security team instead of creating a full-fledged leader security position. Mr. Beato believes a stipend should be sufficient to start that program for leading the security guards. All of these are, the requested $3,500 stipends. Yeah, $3,500.
Will the lead security guard position, will that have oversight responsibilities,
During,
scheduling and evaluation, stuff like that?
not evaluations, but they'll assist the head of school, the operations person soon to be selected, and managing and leading the security guards and consulting and I guess helping with the census.
But it would leave this person in the union, they wouldn't be.
Correct.
So it's basically like a liaison with the security role.
Somewhat, so like the security guards are generally managed through the custodial entity. This would, I guess, designate a lead security guard, but they wouldn't take a role with management. Not against, but contrary to the security guards, which are ideal liaison or a lead stipend position to consult with the head of school and to assist in preventing threats and maintaining the welfare.
Moved by Mr. Lane, second by Mr. Lassie, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
So we're really excited on the cafeteria operations about the next one. We did finally get our food truck in, and it's got a wrap that we used a middle school to help vote on the correct design for it. However, we do have to staff the truck with someone who's trained to drive this on a daily basis to stop and offer food. First, just doing deliveries, we have to designate a cook who can make sure that the food in the food truck to be served from the truck will comply with safety standards, temperatures, cleanliness, and the like. So we have to designate a specific cook for this operation. And again, we think this is going to be awesome for the district. It's going to be delivering snacks and meals to sites such as the stadium. For example, after practices, potentially it might be able to be deployed. We're hoping to serve food truck meals to particular schools or classes on a rotational basis. And in the summer is where we'll probably get the most bang for our buck in delivering and serving meals to the summer school students. So I think this will be great for the district. However, we do need to have the positions authorized, and the food truck will be making money, so to speak, because we are getting a return on each meal we deliver or sell that comes back to the district. We've asked for guidance too from DESI whether these positions can be entirely paid for by the revolving fund. I don't think we've got that back yet, Ms. Turner. We did get guidance on the cafeteria general, so that could be fully funded out of the account. We anticipate this will be we have an obligation to spend those monies that we receive from the meals. And that has gone slower than anticipated just because of the inability to get contractors and equipment in a very fast manner. However, that's ongoing.
So are you envisioning these as like full-time positions, or they're both full-time positions?
So one of the nuances too that I tried to explain in the memo is we at first thought of creating a full year-round position, because the food truck, we're going to need that all summer long. However, that would necessitate creating a very different job description versus the typical cook and driver. So it was recommended, or we believe advisable, to keep them aligned with the full school year positions. And like summer school, the truck and the driver position for the truck will be staffed on an hourly basis, which will maintain parity amongst all the positions. So I just want you to know the rationale that, of course, in the future, we can explore making it a 260 day position, but we didn't have enough time to do that at this point.
And what would the hours be? 40-hour week, or, I mean, I know we have part-time positions.
36 hours.
For both driver and the
For helping.
The driver will help. Yes, they'll have to assist in serving
Okay.
meals.
I was gonna say one person's gonna help. Eric with them, right? Do that.
So in essence, like the school could say, you know, we have this celebratory event, we'd like to reserve the food truck for this, or staff appreciation week or something like that. Like, will it have a calendar of events? Calendar of events?
Is anyone watching, Madam Commissioner?
Yes.
Well, we do, I mean, I'm glad you brought this up because the HR office is envisioning a spirit mobile too, where nice coffee drinks could be delivered to teachers, for example. Even paraprofessionals and clerks, morale, we'd have to
I
find out.
don't think we need a separate truck for that.
No, we could use this, we could use this truck, say between
Okay.
9:30 and 11, for example, do deliveries to different schools, but there are some I guess off-grid benefits to this too, for morale events, school events, and the like. I think the food truck's gonna be awesome.
Will it have Uber Eats and DoorDash? So you can just order it?
Dr. Hall, did you mention who owns the truck?
The district owns the truck.
So the city owns.
Now, we use the revolving account to purchase the truck,
Belong to the school department.
yes. It'll be
We'll
great.
find that out the minute it breaks.
What kind of vehicle is it?
I could send that to you, though. Took a while, the bidding to come through. Who?
So is the wrap done yet?
Yes,
The picture would be great. to see what it looks like.
the Daily School, middle school is opined on cafeteria operations before we reached out to them to poll. And they selected the one that they thought was better.
So, any other questions, concerns?
Motion to approve?
Seconded by Mr. Lay. Favor say aye.
So the next one is the assistant database administrator. There's a memorandum from the director of research and accountability, which is attached. And basically, this would formalize some duties of the data office. There is a person who's moving on to another opportunity in another district. And the superintendent wanted to use this opportunity to, I guess, maximize the position. It does have additional duties and responsibilities that weren't in the current job description for the position, which would be approximately $10,000 left. Both are ununionized, so the superintendent would like this opportunity to improve the data office operations with this change.
I'm sorry, so they both are or
Notice that both are not affiliated.
are not? You could well just kind of what the specific new responsibilities are.
So the training and professional development programs, attendance of those programs were once handled by someone that was in this position a while ago, who also moved on to a new district, and the position was eliminated. These duties and the preparation of the rollover of the data into the systems, the ones that weren't carried on from those job descriptions will be involved in this job description that's currently listed.
That would include now, now it would include providing training to
Yes.
other users of the Aspen system. Questions?
It also does have enhanced qualifications to the position.
I'm sorry, sir.
It has a college degree required.
Which it didn't go for?
I'm wondering in terms of this position, actually, I just thought of this, something I've been told about is some people having more rights to, the Aspen system than they should have. Would this person be able to look into that and make sure all that security is kind of appropriate to each person in the Aspen system? Because I've heard of some confidentiality stuff being breached, and so I just want to make sure that they're on top of that too.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Any motion to approve? Motion to approve, by Mr. Lake. Anyone, say aye.
Aye.
So we've made it to the last position, which is the cafeteria generalist. So I'm sure you all remember that in, I believe, February or early March, there was a like position that we were going to launch, but there was some feedback that might not be the opportune time to do it because it would only be a partial year. So I guess we decided at that point to not advance forward with it. However, we revamped the position and added more responsibilities and academic requirements. We feel that this cafeteria generalist position would help tremendously with some key aspects of the cafeteria operations that we need help on, and those are mostly advertising, recruiting, filling the positions. We had 24 to 29 openings throughout all last year, and we bridged the gap through extra work of people taking extra shifts, of course, is more management, and operationalizing that. Additionally, this person would assist in investigations and auditing, which comes up in the cafeteria, either in employee disputes or complaints, HR issues, or auditing complaints that are made about a contractor. Additionally, this person would assist in onboarding and putting out the bids for cafeteria positions, which are abundant due to the turnover that happens with these positions. And the person would also assist in labor negotiations with the UTL and Airmark, serve as a bridge between those entities as well.
Would the person be located at Central or at one of the kitchen sites, one of the main sites?
Most likely I would say at Central at least one day a week, but probably at the Robinson CAF where there's some room with the facilities department.
Yep, right.
So all this responsibility, currently who is responsible for this type of work?
The operations department. So it's all these jobs are basically handled by me, or Miss Keogh does all the bidding and staffing of it in the advertising. She's the executive secretary for HR. It's probably not all that's in her job description. The safety office assists with some of the investigations, and I do investigations as well. I think the biggest part about this is that we identify that we're able to use the revolving account to entirely pay for this position. Admittedly as well, we can do a limited number of support operations with this position and doing investigation that might not entirely fall within cafeteria, so there'll be some synergies that will be achieved too, but primarily, I'd say 85 to 90% of the duties are primarily within this job description. There could be some support investigations with this personnel.
So this would be another non-affiliated.
Correct.
And it will take a little pressure off operations to kind of streamline issues that may happen in the cafeteria realm of situations.
And it is, it's gone, I think, very well. It is very complex because we have a number of, it's highly fluid, understandably, people are looking for better jobs all the time. There's a lot of rotation, but there's a lot of issues too, with like, are you working part-time or full-time? Take, extra shifts, but the transition into a full-time benefited job. We're always dealing with that and recruiting, and there are a lot of inter-employee complaints as well. We have to investigate those. And this person would be a great benefit while also not taxing the general budget as well.
Can I ask how it aligns in terms of like looking at the work year? So that's got a 260. You wouldn't want a full-time 280.
Well, it entails that in that 260, we're counting out the weekends, and it basically aligns to a full work year with the weekends out of it. So that the 260 work year is what all the chiefs and the superintendent have in the computer system.
So it's including weekends or it's including vacation?
There's 260 work days, and then there'd be 3 weeks vacation with this job. But for per diem purposes, it's 260 work days.
I am going to make the point that, 2 job descriptions look alike. Thing, but it would be great to get there someday. So the 212, is that for the coordinator for early ed, or is that for the site base?
That is both of them per pursuant to the contract. The coordinated work here.
So they use big.
Yes. So the typical principal has 196, so we're still getting what it is.
And the teachers are 186.
181, I believe. Into the next. It's one extra.
Any other questions? Rossi, second by Mr. Lang. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
That concludes our presentation unless we have any questions. Thanks for coming.
Adjourned.
Love that one.
There you go, second by Mr. Lang. All those